Listen, I know I've been critical of Nintendo as of late, but you know what they say, when you love something, you should stab it 15 times and let them bleed out. Nintendo's notorious for making bad decisions, like the Virtual Boy or Wii Music, but there's something especially bad about this generation. See, at least with those other failures, there was still a sense of whimsy, as if Nintendo was experimenting. But nowadays, Nintendo's clearly switching their focus on profit rather than innovation. Now don't get me wrong, Nintendo's always been a for-profit company, but after the huge success of the Switch 1, they're seeming to adapt the Disney mindset. We are too big to fail. We can overcharge or underdeliver as much as we want and people will still buy. Now, are they as bad as Disney? No, of course not. Hell, they're not even the worst game company. But still, with the success of the Switch 2, it seemed like the consumer had lost. They really are too big to fail. And then, the funniest thing happened. Okay, yeah, you got me. Yes, the title is an over-exaggeration. Game keycards are not the worst thing Nintendo has ever done. Hell, it's not even the worst thing they've done this year. But it's a different type of bad. Things like the Mario Kart update or Nintendo Switch Welcome Tour affected their customers, you know, us. However, this whole game keycard fiasco, well, yes, still affecting us, mainly screwed over the third-party developers. And oh my god, did it backfire. So what is a game keycard? It's a cartridge that has none of the advantages of using a cartridge. You still have to have it inside of your system, but it doesn't actually store anything. You still have to download the game, you still have to have all your data saved onto the system. So why would you buy one of these? You get a box. Okay, fine, I'll be serious. Something that's immediately apparent is that these are way better than those physical cases that came with download codes on the Switch 1. At least you actually get something tangible instead of a piece of paper. Also, I think giving game developers an actual way to put their games on the shelf without having to pay the insane price is a good idea on paper, even though it's a solution to a problem that shouldn't be there at all, but we'll get to that. You can sell these, which you couldn't do with download codes. Also, you get a case. I'd like to see Stick Fight do that. I think the main problem stems from the fact that these are worse than useless. They actively lessen the user experience. Because these are essentially download codes with a bit more source, you'd expect them to function the same way. You put them in once, and then you can access it whenever you want. Nope, instead you get the downsides to both digital and physical media. You still have to take up a large amount of space on your system or SD card, but you can only use the software that is downloaded to your system when you have the key card inserted. So why wouldn't I just download it off the eShop? Like, you couldn't have it store game data or something, and this is the format you force third parties to use? Oh yeah, I should probably get to that. So why won't third parties just buy a regular cartridge to put their games on? Cyberpunk did it, why can't Puyo Puyo Tetris? Well, during the Switch 1 generation, Nintendo offered different size cartridges for different game sizes, and for some reason, for the Switch 2 generation, they decided they're gonna get rid of those multiple size game cards, and instead offer just one insanely big one. However, this one really big one they're offering is also super expensive at around $16. Oh, that doesn't sound like a lot. Okay, well let me make an example. Let's say a company sells a game for $40 digital, and they sell 100,000 copies. That's $4 million. Now they decide to sell the game physically. Well, they're gonna have to buy all those game cards. So now that 4 million becomes 2.5 million. That's $1.5 million in Nintendo's pockets for basically doing nothing. The only games that could justify doing a physical release are super big games like Cyberpunk, which kind of makes it extra weird that Street Fighter 6, Hitman, and Split Fiction don't, but that's a whole other topic. And so to fix the problem, I'm doing air quotes but you can't see, they implemented game keycards, and well, they sold terribly, people hated them, and investors started to doubt Nintendo. But like, they should have seen this coming, right? Like, one of the pros of having a physical is you can take advantage of impulse purchases when consumers see your product on the shelf and they're like, oh, why not? But why would someone buy this if they can just download it? Plus, with the new virtual game cards, people can share games without a game card in general. So unless you know you're gonna sell the game, why would you buy these? I know I'm beating this point in the ground, but like, it's generally so baffling that they're trying to replace physical media with this. Yes, they're better than download codes, but at least you could use those without having something in your console. I love Nintendo. I actually used to be one of those fanboys that defended everything they do. And I've said before that I started this channel to help me afford a Switch too, so why am I being so critical? Because it gets views. Because I hate the direction they're going down. I think this guy put it best. Thanks for commenting. It changed how I look at Nintendo. No, I don't like complaining about Nintendo, but they should stop giving us things to complain about. Yeah, I just want to make a video about this because it's beyond stupid, and I hope the fact that these are flopping is enough to show Nintendo that these will never work. Also, if anyone wants to send me a Switch 2, I'd appreciate it.